It's Chris over at Dixieland Farm, and before I get into the meat of this video, I went record shopping after dinner with Dave, DJ Thunder. We see each other often. We're friends. And so we had nothing to do after dinner, and we both said, hey, why don't we go to Earshot? I don't particularly care for Earshot, but they did have a few records. One of them I put in the pile, and two of them I'm going to just show now real quick. Got Procol Harum, Broken Barricades, a nice die cut here on A&M. Is it the green A&M? It is, so that's cool. This has got Robert Trower in it, so this is definitely a more rocking version of Procol Harum. It's got Simple Sister, which is just a great song. I don't really particularly care for Robin Trower. I've gotten copies of Bridge of Sighs over the years, and I've just given them away. But I like him in Procol Harum, and that's the lyricist, by the way. So he doesn't even get... They don't put him on the cover. They put him on the back. And also, Jerry Rafferty's Night Owl. So this is the follow-up to City, I believe. Yeah. So I just need the album before City, and then my Jerry Rafferty is more than complete. Let's get into Commonplace Collection number 3. Is it 3? The hair's crazy, by the way. Today's Sunday, and I'm working out on the farm. So there's like dirt on me from climbing ladders and doing a whole bunch of stuff. Person is Todd Rundgren. I have a love-hate relationship with Todd Rundgren. He is a genius. I just read a book on him as a producer, including his own work. And everything on paper says I should love Todd Rundgren. Everything on paper says you should love Todd Rundgren. But falls short, and I'll go into it a little bit. But these records I both picked up for $1, $2, nothing more than $10 for one record, which to me was worth it. The best record. But yeah, you can find the stuff, except for the Nas, which is his album. He's a teenager here. Nas is much better than Nas, the first album. I've got that on CD. The third album I don't have, but I do have digitally Fungo Bat, which Todd at this point was becoming so prolific that he tried to record a double album, and they wouldn't have it, especially for a young band like this. So it was scrapped, and the band kind of fell apart. They've since reconstructed Nas Fungo Bat, which is Nas, and then Nas 3. Nas 3, they replaced Todd's vocals, but they went back and they got the takes. So it's a rough album, but it just kind of shows the genius. And so this is his solo effort, Runt, his first album on Ampex. This has got the big hit, We Gotta Get You a Woman, which was in the movie The Ringer, about trying to fix the Special Olympics. Good movie. Matter of fact, they use that during the Special Olympics training because it's so accurate. It's a good movie. It sounds an awful premise, but it's got a heart. It's Farrelly Brothers produced it, wrote it. I don't think they directed it though. So this is on Ampex, like the tape, and yeah, it's an okay album. It's a little bit all over the place. So the young kid is trying to show how good he is, and unfocused. So $1. Runt, the Ballad of Todd Rundgren on Bearsville and also on Ampex here. So Bearsville is Alan Grossman's label, based out of Woodstock, and there are only a couple of bands on Bearsville. One of them is Sparks, before they went to England. I don't have any of those albums. I wish I did. And Foghat's first few albums. First Foghat album, by the way, is great. Don't pass it up. It's great. At this point, Todd is falling in love with Laura Nyro. Matter of fact, he ends up working with her and hates it. I said this in the previous video. She's a little out there when it comes to her art. But this album is a little more singer-songwriter. It's good, not great, but it's good. It's got the Hunt brothers, Tony and... the Sales brothers, Tony and Hunt Sales. Soupy Sales kids. They went off to do lots of work, especially with Bowie. They were in Tin Machine. They are mere teenagers on this album. Todd is, I believe, the producer on this. He records quite a bit of the music. If you can see in the credits, he's got a lot of things he's doing. He is starting to branch out. He takes the money. Is there success on this? Not that I know of. But the album it does okay. And he takes the money and he buys some studio equipment. His friend has a loft, and together they kind of form a partnership. So he's got his own recording studio or access to it. And the greatest album, most people would say, from Todd Rundgren is Something Anything. This has got the hit I Saw the Light, which is probably my favorite Todd song, at least his pop songs. And it's got the remake of Hello, It's Me, which was done much slower on the first Nas album, but this is the one that is a hit. And you can see him with his 8-track recorder here. I mean, the guy is becoming a studio genius. He is recording all his instruments. Yeah, he's got his little synth there too. The fourth album is kind of a live in the studio album, and that's where the Hello, It's Me. Just a good album. Good album, but not the great album. Great album is this next one. This is not an original press. I paid $8 for it. So Todd at that point was a pretty straight guy. Did not take any drugs, and then he started taking psychedelics right around Something Anything, and does it show on the cover of this, huh? A Wizard of True Star. This is the greatest Todd Rundgren album. This is just a great album. The original had a die cut, and also on the inside on some copies was a Band-Aid, and there was a poem written on the Band-Aid by Patti Smith. Yes, the Patti Smith. She was a music journalist and a poet before she became a musician. Todd later goes on to produce her. Also produces Sparks, one of the albums. This album is... Todd said he has ADD. It shows on this album because things will last 30 seconds, a minute, and then boom, off into another. And he is also starting to push the boundaries of what can be on an album. Honestly, side one, what we got here? 12 songs? And side two, 7 songs. This album is about 60 minutes long. Got the least a die cut on the inner. I don't know if that's a mistake or not. But his influences of Philly soul are on this album. And Gilbert and Sullivan, snatches of that are on this album. Again, this is what it's like to be in Todd's head. And they ping pong and then cut right into another. And they all flow together, those songs. One after another with jarring cuts. I mean, so it's like into a completely different song. And the Opus International Feel is just such a great song. He is really a Wizard of True Star, especially in the recording studio. Playing just about everything. I think he plays everything on this album. I can't say enough about how great this album is. It really is. Which is a shame. I don't know if I've got these in the time period. So Todd, after doing everything, wants kind of a break from that idea of just having to be the guy that does everything, and forms a band called Utopia. So this is Todd Rundgren's Utopia. This shreds. This sounds sort of like Zappa's mid-'70s period. So it's pop plus progressive rock plus a little bit of jazz fusion. All those things together, the best meals in life are not smorgasbords. They are focused dishes. They are not a little bit of everything. And so that is what this suffers. Even though this is a little bit of everything, it is coherent and, well, it's not really coherent, but it is consistent and, it all makes sense. This is just a little bit of everything everywhere. Good, not great. Back onto his solo. So this is Todd. He fights with the record company to put out the double album. He gets it, but no gatefold to save money. This is the last, more like Something Anything. This is, again, also just a fantastic album altogether. I'm colorblind. I didn't realize that's green. I guess that would have freaked people out back then. I don't know. I thought it was just the bad lighting or something like that. But I don't have. Yeah, on this copy, I don't have a poster. So I think on something, anything. I'm sorry. On A Wizard of True Star, there was a postcard and said if you mailed away, you would be named on the next album's poster. And this had a poster in it with everyone's name on it that mailed away. Yeah. How about a little fanfare? It starts off, an LP worth of tunes, sounds like Gilbert and Sullivan. Is That Love? Heavy Metal Kids? I can't. These are things that you need to listen to. Oh yeah, here it says about the LP poster, right? On to the next album. I'm sure there was a Utopia album, probably Ra. So Todd is starting to learn about Eastern religions, and he is starting to get infatuated with the idea of the god Ra from, is it Egypt, I guess? A lot of pyramids. In fact, they built a big pyramid for a stage show. Cost more than the damn show. They make no money because of the stupid pyramid set. That was one of his management's ideas. Initiation. This album you should get just for the fact that it's got, I think, 66 minutes, something like that. It's got, I mean, I can't do the math, but what side two? It's all broken up, but I think side two is alone 36 minutes worth of music. And side one. Does this say on here somewhere? We got Edgar Winter, Rick Derringer are playing on here. Yeah, here we go. So here's the technical note. Due to the length of the LP, it's got to be quiet and noisy. Turn it up. Tape it, and then play it. By the way, thanks for buying the album. Todd is now starting to rely not so much on physical instruments. He's using the synthesizer more since he is a one-man band on this, except for a few helpers. Oh, I'm never going to get this in right. Oh, it's going to pain you to watch this, isn't it? Yeah, it's already paining me. I need to glue that. It's got the same issues that Utopia have. It's all over the place, a lot of synth. Going into the weird Eastern spiritual thing, right? And unfocused. Definitely not pop, which is his strength. But Todd he never kowtows anybody. It's whatever he wants to do is what he does. And then to celebrate his 10 years in being a musician, he comes out with this album with the people from Utopia, and this is Initiation. I'm sorry, Faithful. It gives you no clue. So side one are covers. Side one of any of the songs that were influential to him during his first year of music, and honestly, it is great. His version of "Strawberry Fields Forever" is wonderful. If 6 was 9, was on some of these he does as copies. I mean, they are imitations, and some of them are not on purpose, I guess. So when he does "Most Likely You'll Go Away Your Way, I'll Go Mine," the Dylan song, he sings like Dylan, or like an imitation of Dylan. But if 6 were 9, he does not try to pretend to be Jimmy, but he shreds on the guitar. Did I mention he's a great guitarist? I should have. And then side 2 is kind of more Todd solo stuff, definitely the stuff that I like. This is, to me, his second best album. First one is A Wizard of True Star. This is his second best album. And then the third would be Something Anything, and then the Todd album. So back onto Utopia, more of the same of prog stuff. So there's a pyramid that I was talking to you about. So this is definitely prog-tastic. He's more interested, I think, in jazzy prog at that point. Todd, like I said, he does what he wants, and he starts getting interested in computers and video, and so his career is, he's not pulling the same numbers because he's diverting into this weirdo stuff that nobody is interested in. So he goes away, having problems in his life, and he comes out with the Hermit of Mink Hollow. Mink Hollow is a place near Woodstock, near Bearsville, where he had his studio, and this has got the hit "Can We Still Be Friends?" And he knows this is like from his video. That's why it looks like a video thing. This is a good album. It's a good album. That's all I can say. Problem with some of this stuff is the musicianship is great. The songwriting is personal to him, but it's not universal enough, or it's a little, it's not cliched, but it's just, there's nothing that grabs you. And that's it's hard for me to go through some of these songs and go, oh, that's a good song, that's a good song, because they just don't. Onomatopoeia, that's a good song, I can say that. But a lot of these things don't stick with you, despite the incredible musicianship. On to Utopia, I again, I may not be completely in order here, but this is Deface the Music. This is a fantastic album. So this is a Beatles copycat. So that's why it looks like Meet the Beatles or not Introducing the Beatles, the other one, With the Beatles, depending on what country you're from. So all of these songs sound like the Beatles. And look, it's a promo copy. This is one of those records I picked up yesterday. I had it on CD. I can't say enough. So it's not like the Ruddles, though it's similar, I guess, because it's not a parody. It's just done in the style of the Beatles. I guess they're fans, so that's what they're doing. And no shame in that. Look at him with the jokes, though. He never takes himself too seriously. Outstanding in their field. They're standing in a field. I love that joke. So now he's. This is where I'm slowly going to be closing my Todd chapter. He went on for 20, 30 plus more years, but this is where I start leaving, because he's now because of the cost of recording, he's definitely depending all on synthesizers at this point, and 80 synth can sound charming in new wave, but when it tries to pretend to be instruments that you can't pay for, it's less charming. So there's healing. This is an album, this is a concept album about the power of music to heal. Like, could the music actually heal you? And that is what it's about. This is a good album as well. Not enough for me to remember much about it. His record company is upset. His management's upset. Why can't you just write hits? It's like, I do what I do. I'm an artist. And he went away and then dashed off this album as a joke. The ever popular tortured artist effect. And, it's hard to read some of these songs. But just like Eleanor is a joke from the Turtles, it's just happy together with the chords reversed, and they sing, etc. as a joke to, or an FU, right, to their handlers. But this has his biggest hit, Bang the Drum All Day. I don't want to work. I just want to bang on the drum all day. I didn't take it out of the shrink wrap because it's got Crazy Eddie. And anybody from New York knows what Crazy Eddie is. So these are quickly toss-off songs, and with him not trying, he actually makes a pretty good album. There you go. Again, that's the end of my collection of Todd. He went on for many more years making music. He has an a cappella album that is great, recorded, all the all singing and imitating instruments. I guess around the same time as Bob McFerrin, but I don't think that was a response or a copycat. I've heard samples, great. Second Wind, good. Nearly Human, good, but they're all plagued by the time that they were recorded, and I'm just not interested, I guess. If I saw them for $1 or $2, I would buy them, but otherwise, I am not. That is the Commonplace collection of Todd Rundgren. Again, you can see him not apathetic, but indifferent, because he's a genius. His musicianship is great, but they're not catchy enough to remember in the pop sense, which is what you want from a pop song, which makes him unique, but ultimately hard to appreciate, except for who he is as an artist. 20 minutes of me rambling already about Todd Rundgren. I think you get the point I'm making at. Other things I can mention about Todd: sardonic sense of humor, wry sense of humor, unpleasant to work with. Most people say anybody who's ever had him produce their record never had him produce a record again, except for the Tubes. Tubes' two greatest albums. Their first album, I think, I don't know if it was, but the Remote Control was definitely done by Todd. Their greatest album. XTC Skylarking, XTC's greatest album, and all because of Todd. And he just doesn't suffer fools, and because of his ADD or seclusive nature or all that, just hard to work with. Except the Utopia guys seem to get along with him. So again, you can't be a stoned or drunk band not knowing what you want, because he's hyper focused. You can see from the volume of work, and I don't have half of what he put out. That music is his life, and of course he Bat Out of Hell was all due to Todd and not Jim Steinman. That's why they never made another album quite like that. It was Todd and his production, and he believed in the project when no one else did, and shopped it around, and he put up his own money to record it until they could find a record label. And the one record label that Meatloaf had a contract with, once they found that Todd was involved, they backed out because they hated Todd so much. Yeah, there you go. 22 minutes now. Too long. 23 minutes now. Too long. Everybody, thanks so much for watching, putting up with my crazy hair. And I know you're just here for the Donald shirt. Take care.